I'm your friendly new media Mothman, Zach the Mothman Daggy, and welcome to another edition of the Midnight Spook Show, your online source for all the horror news, reviews, and interviews that you can scream at. And this edition of Midnight Spook Show is another installment of The Vault. Now, The Vault is a special edition of Spook Show that concentrates on films and film franchises of the horror genre and advises you on deep cuts that you have to watch if you are a horror film enthusiast. These films may not be for everyone, but if you're a horror junkie, you gotta check them out. So for this installment, the film I'm focusing on is House of Wax. Now, the House of Wax storyline began in 1933 with the release of Mystery of the Wax Museum. Now, this was a film directed by Michael Curtis, who was the director of Casablanca, and it stars Lionel Atwill from Captain's Blood, as well as Fay Wray, who, of course, you may recognize from King Kong. Now, this was a very dark film for its time. The plotline is that a master wax sculptor has his place and masterpieces burned down because of a guy that's wanting insurance money. And in the fire, our sculptor, whose actual name in the 33 film was Igor, which I thought was kind of cool, he gets burned up pretty bad with his hands and can't sculpt any longer. So he finds a solution. Since he can't sculpt his masterpieces, he'll find some bodies from the local morgue and dump some wax on it and make it look like he sculpted some. So more or less, he's posing dead bodies in his wax museum. And of course, when bodies aren't showing up in the morgue, sometimes you gotta take some actions into your own hands. So it was very dark for its time, and what I found very cool was just when you picture films from the 1930s, you think of the jelly, gee willikers type, language, But literally, there's a scene in this where the lead actress of Fay Wray, who's a fast-talking journalist, very much a Lois Lane type, walks into a police station and basically says, "So, hey Joe, how's your sex life?" That blew me away. They said something like that in a 1933 film. But the other thing that's kind of cool is having a female lead in a 1933 film that wasn't the damsel in distress, where she was leading the charge and doing the investigation to find out where these missing bodies are going. And so the 33 film led into the 1953 remake, which is, in my opinion, the remake that you should check out. That's the House of Wax to me. Very few times remakes surpass the original, and this one definitely surpasses the original. And the main reason for that is because of Vincent Price. Vincent Price, in my opinion, is the king of horror films. He did campy, he did serious, he just did a brilliant job in every horror film he was in. And this one is no exception. He plays the Igor character from the Mystery of the Wax Museum, but in this case, he plays it a bit better. It's the perfect Vincent Price, really. It's that smart, charismatic, yet completely mad Vincent Price that we know and love. And there's definitely some uber creepy moments in it. And I also can't help but notice that in the film, the person collecting the bodies has a burned up face and wears a fedora on his head. And when he's walking down the alleys in his silhouette, I couldn't help but notice that it looked very much like Freddy Krueger. So I'm thinking Wes Craven definitely had some major influences off of House of Wax in 1953. I don't know if he was actually born then or not, but I'm sure he catched it later on. Because, I mean, when you see him walking, there's no way in hell that Freddy Krueger wasn't based on the villain from House of Wax. And the 1953 film, like I said, it was a classic. I will warn you, though, when watching it, mind the campy 3D moments. It was meant to be for a 3D audience, but instead of having, the cool stuff that we have now, like knives and stuff thrown in 3D, this has literally a guy with one of those paddles and the balls on the string and like paddling it toward the screen, and can dancers thrown in for no reason, and it was kind of stupid. But nonetheless, check out the 1953 film. Now, there was also a remake recently in 2005, which starred Alicia Cuthbert, something like that. She was from 24, Girl Next Door, as well as Jared Padalecki from Supernatural, and Paris Hilton from that sex tape that you won't admit to seeing. This one, nothing like the other films. What they did is they took the House of Wax basic premise and used a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake vibe to make a slasher film. And it's not a bad slasher film, don't get me wrong. It's just nothing at all like the original. So I can't even call it a remake. It's I guess, reimagining or vague similarity to it. Shares the title, I guess. It has some good parts to it. It's definitely a very decent modern slasher film. It has all the tropes of it. It has some really cool ideas involving wax with it. And what really worked with it in particular is this isn't just a slasher, ooh, that person's dead type deal. It's this person getting maimed terribly and still alive. And you're like, oh, I wish that person was dead. So it's very horrific. And like I said, it's actually a decent slasher film. So don't get, just because Paris Hilton's involved, don't think that you should pass it up. So there you have it, House of Wax. Definitely check out the 1953 one. If you want to go deeper, check out the remake and the precursor, Mystery of the Wax Museum. They're quite cool movies, so, and definitely very important of the horror filmography. So you can check them out now. I think they're all on DVD and Blu-ray. And you can check out the trailers for them, the ones that are available, over at spookshow.tv. Look for the post for House of Wax. Until next time, I'm your friendly new media mouse man, advising that when watching great horror films, be sure to turn it up and turn out the lights. Cheers. This episode of Midnight Spook Show is made possible thanks to Pet Meds. Take care of your furry friends while having your pets' medications and supplies delivered straight to your door with petmeds.com/moth. And remember to add the /moth at the end to save 10% off of your next order. And yes, indeed, Midnight Spook Show is proud to have Pet Meds as a paid affiliate.